This happened when I was 22 years old and decided to go on a solo camping trip in Montana. I had just graduated college and wanted some time alone to clear my head before starting my new job. I'd been camping plenty of times before, but always with friends or family. This would be my first time going completely alone. I drove about 4 hours north to a remote area I'd researched online. It wasn't a designated campground, just public land where dispersed camping was allowed. Arrived in the late afternoon, I found a clearing near a small stream. It seemed perfect, isolated, peaceful. Exactly what I was looking for. I set up my tent, gathered some firewood, and made dinner. As the sun started to set around 9 p.m., I was sitting by the fire reading a book when I heard branches snapping in the woods behind my campsite. At first I assumed it was a deer or maybe an elk. I stayed still and quiet, waiting to see if an animal would emerge from the tree line, but nothing came out. The snapping stopped for a few minutes, then started again, this time closer. I grabbed my flashlight and shined it toward the sound. Immediately, the noise stopped. I sat there for another hour, occasionally hearing more branches snap, always from different directions around my camp. It felt like something or someone was circling me, keeping just out of sight. I decided to put out the fire and get into my tent. Maybe whatever it was would lose interest and move on. I laid in my sleeping bag, trying to convince myself it was just wildlife doing wildlife things, but deep down something felt wrong. Around midnight, I woke up to the sound of footsteps right outside my tent. Not animal footsteps, human footsteps, slow and deliberate, crunching on the dried leaves and twigs. I held my breath, my heart pounding so hard I thought whoever was out there might hear it. The footsteps stopped directly beside my tent. I could see a shadow through the fabric, blocking the moonlight. Then I heard breathing, heavy breathing, like someone had been running, exerting themselves. I wanted to scream, to yell out and demand who was there, but I was paralyzed with fear. The shadow moved away, and I heard the footsteps walking toward my car. I'd left it unlocked like an idiot. I heard the door open, then close. A few seconds later, I heard my trunk pop open, then slam shut. The footsteps came back toward my tent and stopped again. This time, I heard a man's voice whisper, "I know you're in there." My blood turned to ice. I didn't respond, didn't move, didn't breathe. He said it again, louder, "I know you're in there." Then he laughed. It was the most unsettling laugh I'd ever heard in my life. After what felt like an eternity, the footsteps walked away back into the woods. I waited in that tent until the sun came up, too terrified to move. As soon as there was enough light, I packed up my stuff as fast as I possibly could and got the hell out of there. When I got to my car, I noticed my spare tire was missing from the trunk. He had taken it. I reported it to the ranger station on my way out, and they told me there had been reports of a man living illegally in that area, harassing campers. They said I was lucky nothing worse happened to this day. I've never gone camping alone again. This happened to my cousin Derek when he was 19. He was on a hiking trip in Oregon with two of his buddies, Mike and Chris. They planned to hike a 15-mile trail over 2 days camping. Halfway through the first day went smoothly. They made good time and found a nice spot to set up camp near a creek. They built a fire, cooked some food, and were having a great time, just enjoying being out in nature. Around 10 p.m., they heard singing coming from somewhere in the distance. It sounded like a woman's voice singing something. They couldn't quite make out the words, but the melody was clear. They all looked at each other, confused. There weren't supposed to be any other campers in this area. They checked. Mike joked that maybe it was a siren trying to lure them to their deaths, but they all laughed it off. The singing continued for about 20 minutes, then stopped. They went asleep, not thinking much of it. Around 3 a.m., Derek woke up needing to pee. He unzipped his tent and stepped outside. The fire had died down to just embers, and the forest was dark. He walked a little ways from camp to relieve himself when he heard the singing again, much closer. This time he could almost make out words. It sounded like a lullaby. He called out hello, thinking maybe someone needed help. The singing stopped immediately. He stood there in the darkness waiting. Then he heard footsteps running toward him fast. He bolted back to camp and dove into his tent, waking up Mike and Chris. He told them what happened, and they all sat there listening. They heard the footsteps circling their camp, going round and round for at least an hour. None of them slept the rest of the night. When morning came, they packed up and hiked out. They never found out who or what that was.